The NBA season has been off to a really fun start so far. Some players are doing a lot better than we expected and others a lot worse. NBA 2K21 has had their first official roster update of the 2021 season, and I'm here to cover the biggest changes of every single team in this video. But before this video starts, please join the new channel. It is just called Pack. I'm going to be doing IRL content and react videos, so please join and subscribe. And also join this channel, subscribe. We're trying to make it grow. Let's get to 300,000 subscribers. Okay, I'm always starting off, I miss saying this, with the Philadelphia 76ers, baby. So, the Philadelphia 76ers have been one of the best teams in the NBA, at least for the first couple games of the year, right? Joel Embiid has been fantastic. +1 for him from a 91 to a 92, making him the second best center in the NBA. He has been absolutely amazing. Ben Simmons got no change, which is at least fair in my opinion. Tobias Harris goes +1. They have been succeeding, and it's because he's been hitting his shots for real. It matters, and he's been fantastic. And Seth Curry, even more than that, +2 for him from a 78 to an 80 overall. The biggest problem with this team last year is that there was nobody to shoot the ball. They had nobody to kick it out to, which means they had no spacing, which means it was very terrible for the Sixers to, succeed. Doc Rivers is now the coach. He's been doing a better job, and Seth Curry has been hitting the threes that they need. Now, with the Milwaukee Bucks, we have Chris Middleton going +1. And on top of that, Drew Holiday goes +2. This is the important one. Eric Bledsoe was an 83 overall, and then they traded for Drew Holiday and a ton of picks, and they got an 83 overall back with Drew Holiday. So everybody was saying, yo, this is basically the same player, but nah, everybody knows that Drew Holiday is like that. Not only is he a good defender like Eric Bledsoe, he can score way better than Eric Bledsoe, and that's being shown right now this season with Drew Holiday, and who knows, maybe they could become a contender because of how good he's been playing. Now, Brook Lopez -1, but he's still good, and Donte DiVincenzo +1. I don't even know why he was at a 77 overall in the first place when he was an 80 overall last season. I don't know what happened. And then a big bench player for them is Pat Connaughton from a 73 to a 75, so +2. And DJ Augustin isn't playing as much as they expected him to, so from a 76 to a 74, -2 for DJ Augustin. For the Chicago Bulls, Lauri Markkanen +1, which is interesting because I feel that he hasn't been doing great. I think he's just been doing okay. Otto Porter goes +2, so back in the 80 overall club for Otto Porter where he belongs. Kobe White +1, and Waldo Carter Jr. -1, and he deserves that -1 for sure. But Zach LaVine gets no change. I think he's been playing great. I think he deserves a +1, but that's just my opinion. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, who's doing better than everybody expected, but they dropped Andre Drummond to -1 from an 85 to an 84.
You what?
I completely disagree. I think he's been a main factor for this team and why they're succeeding so well. His defense, rebounding, and even scoring in the post has been essential for this team, so I don't know why they downgraded him. Colin Sexton goes +3 from 80 to an 83 overall, but he, in my opinion, is the best player on this team, so I don't know why he doesn't have the highest rating. Darius Garland also gets +3 from a 74 to a 77, and it's probably going to be even higher throughout the season, but his defense isn't great. But here's the thing, 2K has been very safe with these ratings. You have nobody getting more than a +3 in this roster update. They don't want to overreact because it's only been like 8 games for most teams. So that's probably why no one's getting these crazy +7 ratings that we've seen before, That's why Darius Garland probably deserves a lot bigger of an upgrade, and so does Colin Sexton, but you only see +3 for them because they don't want to overreact, I'm assuming. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum +1, as he deserves, and Jaylen Brown only +2. I think Jaylen Brown deserves to be maybe in the 90 overall club. I think he's been that good, but that's my personal opinion. Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson -2, but I think that they'll get right during the season. And then Peyton, I'm going to mess up his last name, Pritchard, I'm assuming, +3. He is crazy. He's a rookie for the team, and he has been a shock for the Celtics. He's been a huge surprise. He's been fantastic. I think he's going to end up being like a 76 overall throughout the year. For the Clippers, Paul George only +1. I think he should be in the 90 overall club. I think he's been playing like that. Serge Ibaka goes +1. And Lou Williams -1 because he's been struggling for the most part. Luke Kennard also goes -2, which is a pretty big downgrade, but he has not been doing great for the start of the year. For the Grizzlies, one of the biggest downgrades this roster update is Brandon Clark -3. He has not been where he was at the start of last year, and you would think his stats would be going even up even higher, especially because John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are injured. So you would have expected Brandon to even shine even more, but he hasn't. But Kyle Anderson goes +3 because he has been the one shining for this team. Trae Young +1. Listen, the Hawks are one of the better teams in the NBA, in my opinion. At least in the East, they have a really good offense, and Trae Young is the reason for that. I think I would not be surprised if he ends up being a 90 overall by the end of the year. His defense may be atrocious, but it doesn't matter when you're scoring like 140 a game. I'm surprised there was no change for John Collins when he's been fantastic. And then Bogdanovich goes -1 because he's not been playing at the standard they expected him to. And then DeAndre Hunter +2 because he's been fantastic. Probably the third best player on this team right now. Probably not just because of his offense, but of his defense ability as well. Jimmy Butler -1. I do think that they're being too safe here. I think Jimmy Butler, even though he's doing all the right little things, his scoring ability has gone down so far this year. That's my opinion. But that's why I think he should maybe be down to like a 90, even an 89 overall. But it's early, so that's why they don't want to overreact. Bam Adebayo only goes +1, but he's easily been the best player on this team this season so far. So I don't know why he's not going up at least to a 90 overall. And then Tyler Hero -1, but I think he'll get right there in the season. And the big one is Avery Bradley. He's been fantastic, 74 to now 76 overall, so +2. He's been amazing so far now that he's healthy. For the Hornets, Scary Terry goes +2 from a 79 to an 81, making him the second best player on the team now. Him and Gordon Hayward may be equal though in my opinion, but we'll see throughout the year. Devontae Graham gets no downgrade even though he's been terrible so far. And LaMelo Ball goes +1 because he's been in contention for Rookie of the Year so far. He's been very good. For the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell gets a -1, but I think Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the Jazz still. So if Donovan Mitchell got -1, then I think Rudy Gobert should have also got -1, but in my opinion, Mike Conley goes +2 from an 80 to an 82, and he rightfully deserves that. He's had a great start. It's crazy how he was terrible on the Jazz last season, but this year he really has been showing up, and that's awesome to see. Bojan goes -2, but that might change throughout the year. For the Kings, Hassan Whiteside -2, and I think he deserves even less of that. Dude doesn't even play for the Kings, really. He's been terrible so far, and I think Buddy Hield's easily the second best player on this team, so I don't think Hassan Whiteside should even be anywhere near this. So he should have got like a -5 at least. Buddy Hield -1 for no reason. I don't know what their opinion was on that. And then Marvin Bagley III -3 from an 82 to a 79 because he has been straight cheeks so far. One of the bigger upgrades is Tyrese Halliburton from a 74 to a 77. He has been a steal for the Kings and arguably a Rookie of the Year candidate so far. And he had a game winner. He's clutch. Now for the New York Knicks, Julius Randle +3. He is averaging the exact same stats as LeBron James right now. He has been fantastic. Will it last? We'll see, and that's probably why 2K only gave him a +3, but he is definitely the best player on the Knicks right now. Now, RJ Barrett gets a +2. I believe that RJ Barrett's about an 80 overall because even though his scoring is kind of inconsistent, his defensive ability has been fantastic this season, and that's why I believe he should be an 80 overall. Overall, though, no other big changes. Overpaying went down, which is dumb because he's been playing well. And I'm surprised Kevin Knox didn't go up at all, which is ridiculous. And Manuel quickly only went up 1, which is also ridiculous because he's been playing amazing too. For the Lakers, Anthony Davis -1. I completely disagree. Even if he has a bad couple games, we all know Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the league, and he shouldn't be anything besides a 96 overall straight up. And then Dennis Schroeder didn't get an upgrade, but I think he is the third best player on this team easy right now, ahead of Montrezl Harrell, but whatever. For the Magic, Nikola Vucevic +1. That's because this team's been playing very well, and Nikola's been the most consistent, plus Terrence Ross, who went from a 78 to an 80 overall. I believe Terrence Ross needs to have an even higher upgrade. His defense may not be the best in the world, but he's a great scorer, and he's, I think, easily the second best player on this team, even if he's coming off the bench. For the Mavericks, Luka -1. An overreaction for sure. We all know how good Luka is and how he's going to be throughout his career, right? So even though this team is struggling, it's struggling because they don't have Porzingis. Let's just be real. Tim Hardaway Jr. also gets a +1, and Jalen Brunson also gets a +1. I think Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr. should be about the same rating, though. I think Jalen Brunson's been very good. For the Nets, Kevin Durant +1 from a 95 to 96. Because it's freaking KD. He literally got an Achilles injury and it did not affect him at all. It's crazy. And Kyrie Irving +2. He is showing that he's still one of the best point guards in the NBA. And I wouldn't even be surprised if his rating goes up even higher throughout the year. And Jared Allen, who has been fantastic so far, or at least lately for the Nets, +1. And I would not be surprised if he also ends up becoming the third best player on this team, at least rating wise. And DeAndre Jordan -1. And I think that's an underreaction. I think he has been terrible, like absolutely terrible. And I think his rating needs to go down aggressively. For the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic +2, making him the best center in the NBA ahead of Joel Embiid by +1. And can you blame him? He's leading his team in every category. This dude is a demon. Michael Porter Jr. +1 as the third best player, as he should be. He's been amazing scoring wise. And Will Barton -2, but he has good games and bad games, so I don't know if he deserved a -2. But Gary Harris also gets a -2. And honestly, you remember when I said that Gary Harris is overrated like 3 years ago and y'all all said I was crazy? I'm just saying. Indiana Pacers, Malcolm Brogdon from an 83 to an 86, +3 for him. Tied as the best player with Domantas Sabonis, who also gets a +1. Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon has been amazing. We have played them twice, the Knicks have played him twice, and both games he destroyed us. He's just so good. It's insane. He got even better somehow. And then Sabonis is still amazing as well. Statistical monster. But TJ Warren -1. He has been struggling so far, and it might go down even harder. Oladipo gets only +1, but I think he's been the third best player on this team this season so far. And Miles Turner comes back to the 80 overall club with a +1. Brandon Ingram only +1, even though I think he should be maybe a +2. Eric Bledsoe -2. So now Drew Holiday is an 85 and Eric Bledsoe is an 81. Showing the difference between them is kind of huge now. For the Detroit Pistons, some pretty big upgrades. Jeremy Grant +3 from a 77 to an 80 overall, but I think that he should be considered the best player on this team. Therefore, I think he should be an 83 overall, at least tied with Blake Griffin. And then you have Josh Jackson, who's been fantastic as well, from a 73 to a 76. And I won't be surprised if he ends up becoming an 80 overall on this team as well. For the Raptors, -1 for Kyle Lowry. This team has been struggling. I believe they're 1-6, and their only win came from the Knicks, who shot I think they're 2 for 30 at the 3-point line. They were terrible. So that's the only reason the Raptors have a win this season. So they've been pretty bad so far, but we'll see. They might get right there in the year. Fred VanVleet goes +1 because he's been the only consistent scorer on this team. Chris Boucher goes +1 as well because he's been solid. And that is it for the Raptors. For the Rockets, John Wall +1. He is defying the odds. He's been fantastic every game he's played so far. Even after the millions of injuries that he's had, he's still coming back strong, which is a big deal for the Rockets. Christian Wood +3 from an 80 to an 83 overall, and I won't be surprised when he ends up becoming the second best player on this team. Eric Gordon -1. I disagree. I think he's been playing decent, at least in my opinion. For the San Antonio Spurs, DeMar +1. I disagree. The Spurs have been playing okay. They have bad games, they have good games, but their schedule's been really rough lately. I believe we're 3 and 4. It's been more the young guys. It has not been DeMar. It's been, for example, Keldon Johnson, who went from a 76 to a 78, so +2. He's been probably our most consistent player lately. They downgraded LaMarcus from an 84 to an 83, which is absolutely ridiculous. He hasn't even played, so I don't know why you're downgrading him. DeJounte got no upgrade, but I think he's been playing a little more consistent lately, and I think he's getting better, so I think he should have gotten upgraded as well. And then Lonnie didn't get an upgrade either, which is just absolutely crazy. He's so much better than last year, so I don't even understand. For the Suns, this one, okay, I'm gonna go on a rant for the Suns. Chris Paul goes -1, Devin Booker goes -1. Where do I even begin? I think that 2K views ratings incorrectly. Both of their stats are lower from last year. With Chris Paul and Devin Booker, statistically they're going down, but they're winning a lot of games. They have the best record in the West right now, okay? So they're finally in a winning position, and they're still playing well, so why decrease their ratings? I'm sorry, but winning is a priority. If you're still the best player on your team and you're winning now, and compared to last year, you should go up, not down. I think Devin Booker deserves, in my opinion, to be a 90 overall straight up. Maybe I kind of agree with the Chris Paul downgrade because statistically he really is going down, but he's still clearly good. Also, I don't know why they're tied with rating when Devin Booker is clearly better than Chris Paul. I wouldn't say by a crazy amount, but he's definitely better. Michael Bridges goes up 2 from a 77 to a 79, so he did get an upgrade. Probably going to be an 80 overall throughout the year. And no change for DeAndre Ayton, which is interesting. Overall, though, I think the Suns I don't even know what they're thinking here. For the Thunder, the biggest change is Lou Dort +3 from the 75 to a 78, and Darius from the 74 to a 76, so +2 for Darius. This team is probably in rebuild mode, but they are surprising people because they're still winning a couple games here and there, so who knows. For the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley only +2. I think he definitely deserves a much bigger upgrade. We'll see how it goes throughout the year though. For the Blazers, Dame -1, but I don't agree personally. CJ McCollum +3 from an 84 to an 87. He's been fantastic. And then Yusuf Nurkic -3 from an 84 to an 81. And he needs to get a lot better if they want to be the contenders that they used to be, right? So he definitely needs to get a lot more consistent. And same thing goes with Robert Covington, who went from a 79 to a 78. He has been struggle city. Now for the Warriors, we have Andrew Wiggins -1, but I do think he's playing a little better lately, so I don't know if they should downgrade him. The big one though is Kelly Oubre, the biggest downgrade in this roster update, -4 for him from an 81 to a 77. I believe that this one is a huge overreaction. I know that he's had a bad start to the year, but now that they have Draymond back, I think this team is going to get right, and Kelly Oubre is going to start hitting his shots eventually. So I think that having him at a 77 is pretty absurd. Also, James Wiseman +1, also definitely in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. He's been very consistent for this team as well. Now for the Wizards, Russell Westbrook goes -1. I have my personal opinion about Westbrook. I may get downgraded for this. I think he's good. I think he's a good NBA player. I know that the Wizards aren't winning. I understand that. I'm not crazy. But is Russell Westbrook the reason? I don't know. He takes bad shots, I agree. But he also gets a lot of people open. And he works hard. And he plays okay defense. So I don't know if he's the reason why they fail and why they lose. He's been playing hard and playing well. Bradley Beal didn't go up, which is insane. He should be 90 overall straight up. He dropped a 60 piece literally, I think, yesterday. And then Thomas Bryant goes up 1 to an 80 overall, which he deserves. So there's pretty big changes, and I think Denny Avdija, I believe, goes +2 from a 75 to a 77. He's been getting big minutes because he's been playing very well. And these are the biggest changes in this roster update. Do you agree or disagree with 2K? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.